Om Vame Manasi Pratishtita Mano Me Vachi Pratishthitam Aviravirma Edi Vedasyama Ani Sthaha Shrutam Me Ma Prahasihi Anena Dhitena Horatra Sandadhami Ritam Vadishyami Satyam Vadishyami Tanmamavatu Tadvaktaramavatu Avatu Mam Avatu Vaktaram Avatu Vaktaram Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. All right, here we are, hymn 71, or 72 already, no? 71. Still. This is the verse we stopped, number 8. Let's look into it. Ayat ishe nripatim teja anat. Shuchich reto, shuchi reto. Nishiktam dyaura bihike. Agnih shardaham anavadyam yuvanam. Suadhyam janayat sudayatcha. And when a flame of energy came to this king of men for impelling force, when in their meeting heaven was cast in him like pure seed, the fire gave birth to a might, young and faultless, and perfect in thought, and sped it on its way. Here's the footnote, this might Shardhan, this host. If you look into this, I think here it is. You can have a host, a troop, usually a troop of Maruts, and Sri Aurobindo makes a footnote here. It may mean also an army of live gods, Marut, Marutam, Shardhan. All right, let's go through the verse. So who is this king of man? And why he needs this flame energy? And there are words which are quite interesting. Anat. Anat is from Ashrut. Ashnoti. Here, I think I put it. No, I didn't. Which means to achieve, to realize, also to enjoy. So in my translation, I put it a bit differently. Took charge of our king. So basically, who consumed our king. Yeah. That's an interesting word, consuming, enjoying, taking charge. Yeah. Inflaming, illumining, also a good word, who illumined our king. Yeah. Tejas, which Tejas is this flame or this blazing force, which illumined or took charge of the king for the perfect or true impulsion. Ishe is dative case from Ish. Ish is usually used, as Sri Aurobindo translates many times in the Veda, as true impulsion, or maybe even some kind of impulse of aspiration, impulse for the truth, which is pushing us all forward. Yes? So for this impulse of truth, the king was charged with blazing force. And when he was charged with that force, Shuchi retach, pure retas, pure stream or pure seed, nishiktam, delivered or cast out, diaura bihike. In meeting of heaven, or more, we can say in the proximity to heaven. How do I translate? In the meeting heaven, the pure seed was released. Griffith translated, straight from the heaven descends the limpid moisture. Retas. Retas from root 3, to flow. And retas usually means the seed, the semen, which is from which the being comes into birth. Yes. So the pure seed was cast in meeting heaven. So when most probably heaven and earth meet, the seed of heaven was cast. Usually it is the belief from in the Veda, especially in the oldest parts of the Rigveda, that Heaven Father conceives Earth Mother. Earth Mother is conceived by Heaven Father, and he does it with the lightning usually, and with Parjanya. Parjanya is that seed which flows from heaven as rain, from which all the greenery grows. This was envisioned in that way. By the way, this idea of conception of from heaven of earth is, you can find it everywhere, and even in Ramayana, when Janaka was, it was believed that the king has to start every year. The first plow was made by the king of the earth, because earth is virgin, and so to disturb the her with this conception, with the plow to cut in. So the king was doing the first row. Yeah? And when he did the first plowing, on the crack of earth, the Sita was born. So when he looked behind, he saw Sita sitting on the row of the earth. So she didn't have neither father nor mother. Her mother is earth. Yes. And as we remember, at the end, she went down into earth. The earth mother rose from below and took her onto her lap and took down into the earth. So Sita, it usually means that this kind of Sita is the border, yeah? Exactly that row which is made by the plow. Why I'm saying all this? Because this conception of the earth by heaven, and king represents heaven in this case, yeah? He has to do it. It's his duty. And then the whole season of plowing starts with him in spring. Quite interesting. So the Shuchiretach Nishiktam was cast out. In the proximity with heaven, or in meeting heaven. Agni Shardham Anavadyam Yuvanam Suadhyam Janayat, and Agni produced, generated the whole Shardham, the whole movement, or the whole army, Anavadyam, perfect, without any blame. Yuvanam, young, Suadhyam, well concentrated, and effectuated it, or sped it on its way. Sudayat has from Sud, here you can see, to manage, arrange, prepare, effect, contrive. You can choose what is more suitable. In this case, Sri Aurobindo says, and sped it on its way. Because Shardham Maruts, usually they are the storm winds, yes, and they move in the vital world. These are vital, or these are mental forces in the vital, let us say, which are the seekers of the truth. They are Brahmins, by the way. They are not Kshatriyas, quite amazing. And because all the gods have different varnas, so Maruts are Brahmins, but Brahmins with weapons, with swords and with spears, especially spears, sharp spears. They are pronouncing the word. They are the formulating and expressing mantras. The whole crowd of 33 or 49 different numbers are given in different places of Maruts. Shardham, this host or army of the forces in the vital, which is perfect and young and well focused, was generated and made effective by Agni. They are considered to be Maruts, sometimes the children of Rudra himself. Yeah? They belong to Rudra, this Rudra Gana or Maruts. Or they are manifestations of Agni. Agni himself is the son of Rudra, Shiva. In the later language of Hinduism, it will be Kartikeya, as you know. And on the other side, there will be Ganapati, who was Brahmanaspati or Brahaspati in the Veda. So Brahaspati lost its independence and became a child of Rudra. Interesting story about Maruts. As you know, we most probably will not have an opportunity to read Marut hymns. We had dedicated several years in IPI to study only Maruts. So we went through all Maruts in one after the other. Somewhere all those recordings are available. And because it is, we thought that the best way to understand the Godheads, you have to concentrate on them, you know? And see and feel how they work and have the whole. And then we shift to Ashwins, for example, and spent 1 year with Ashwins only. And so you could see the difference and understand their functionality better. But Agni represents all of them in action of sacrifice. Yes? All of them are acting through Agni. So in that case, of course, we took the central deity for this. You know that Maruts were supposed to be the rivalry of Indra, and they were born to actually to defeat Indra. So, because deity was so disappointed or distressed with her sons being killed by Indra, and so she wanted to have a hero who will be stronger than Indra. So when she conceived it from Kashyapa, Kashyapa is a very strange being who is conceiving many godheads. And when she conceived, she was taking care of it, of 1,000 years or something, sitting and was nourishing that being, and was very careful to do everything right. But Indra, one moment, he found the moment when she was not totally conscious and entered into her womb, and that the hero who was ready to be born was cut into 33 pieces, and he cut it within the womb. So instead of one hero, she brought to birth 33 children. And the story goes on that since Indra entered into her womb and shaped the form of Maruts, he became their father, as it were. So he gave them a kind of form. So they, instead of becoming his rivalries, they became his companions. And it is very important for the Vedic vision because Maruts are born from Diti and Indra is coming from Aditi, from another shore, from two different shores, and then they come together. And Maruts, when they fight here and they bring light of Indra into the lower hemisphere and find and fight with him and bring him down into the subconscious cave and help him to destroy the cave and so on. They discovered that the light by which they fight, the light of their spears and so on, is the light of Indra. That's also an amazing kind of discovery that Maruts have made for themselves. So they are totally his companions, and he is called in many places Marutvan. He is the one who possesses Maruts. He's their leader.
Is that why in the Veda they are referred to as Pani?
Panis, yes, are the...
In the Secret of the Veda I was reading today somewhere, he refers to them, the companions of Indra, as Pani, but I thought Pani was...
No. Panis are the organs of action,
Yes.
karmendriyas, as it were in Samkhya. But panis are those organs which are holding in the cave. They are traders, traffickers of that treasure, of spiritual treasure we receive in our meditation. And when we receive, we had such a good meditation, and then we come out and suddenly everything is disappeared. Where did it go? Why didn't it stay? And so we are always surprised where it goes. This is because of panis. They grab our perception and hide in the subconscious cave. And then they trade it for their own aggrandizing. They do not know the value of that light, but they know that it is valuable and can be traded. And it made me think that many traders in the world, what they trade, they do not have a sense of the value of what they trade. Like in art, for example, people sell art, but they have no idea what value it has from artistic point of view, from the real point of view. They know that it has value and people will buy and then they will sell it. Yeah? So they mechanically do these transactions of things they have no access to. So it makes them like, like an external force, as it were.
But since the Maruts are the children of Diti,
Yes.
is that why they are referred to as Pani? Pani?
No, they're not. Panis are a totally different class. They're also Daityas, yes. All of these born in the lower hemisphere of Ditya are Daityas or Danavas, because she has two names, Danu or Diti.
That's
From here, we have these names for them. Audacious. Audacious from Udas, to separate, separative consciousness. No, they are not Maruts. Maruts are divine, the energies of our thought, which are seeking for the truth. And what is interesting, they have this, what do you call it? Quality, a strange quality. So wherever you direct them, they will be looking for the truth. They don't mind going anywhere. That is how our mind works. Sri Aurobindo says that he lost his trust in the mind because he could prove any point of view with the mind. So some kind of Marutic quality of the mind. Mind can find truth in everything. So how can you really follow it? It can find truth in opposite, in this and that, and follow it. So there must be some other way of looking at truth. It not to discard the work of Maruts, yes, but not to take it as the only way of knowing. It's one of the facets of knowing, one of the truths in many truths. So, and they can discover any, you can direct them anywhere. This is quite interesting. And there is the whole hymn to Maruts and Indra by Agastya, which Aurobindo comments so beautifully, as you know, most probably is from first mandala, 170, at the end of the first mandala, where there is dispute between Maruts, Indra, and Agastya. Agastya already directed his Maruts, his mental energies, to search beyond, to the transcendental, to tap into the transcendental, to leave everything behind, yes, to find the truth as it is. And Indra stops him and speaks to him. You remember this beautiful hymn. Actually, it explains all integral yoga, this hymn, 170. Because there Indra tells him that when you go there to the transcendental, you will not even remember what you were looking there for. Because there are no means of knowing or realizing the truth, because there you dissolve yourself into the truth. The very thirst for knowledge, for knowing the truth, disappears there. So you can't realize the truth in transcendental. It's amazing. You can't realize it in that sense as you wanted. You wanted to know, you wanted to realize, you wanted to be you realizing the truth. There will be no you anymore. You will dissolve. There will be only that light from which everything comes. So your idea to realize that is actually a vain, impossible. But he says, he is the fire. Let us kindle the fire. This is the Amritasya Chetanam. This is the consciousness of immortality. You wanted immortality, here it is. Let's do the sacrifice. Let's bring all the forces into your being and make you immortal. That's what Indra suggests. And Sri Aurobindo says that for him it was very difficult because Maruts were already moving in that direction, but he had to redirect his Maruts. Now you know what Maruts are, because you have to redirect, you have to change your views on life, which is not an easy task. Because you tuned all your mental energies for this particular understanding, and now you have to change that understanding. Many people can't redirect their Maruts. Once they are convinced, I have many students of Advaita, they can't accept at all integral yoga. Till a certain point, till we go together, yes? And then when we speak about something more, realization of the divine life, boom, they drop. Maruts do not permit them to.
We also don't know maybe how to direct the Maruts. I mean, that itself is an occult practice, isn't it?
Absolutely. We need to have a freedom to be able to direct. We have to separate Purusha from Prakriti in order to direct Maruts. Yeah? Otherwise, it is becoming a very tough task for us. Yeah, well, such a long story about Maruts, but it's quite interesting that the Agni generates them, generates these forces, mental forces, and puts them to work, making them effective forces which are focused perfectly on one aim, Suadhyam. Dhi is that power to concentrate. Su is perfectly Dhi. So perfectly concentrating on the topic Yuvanam, always full of young energy. Anavadhyam could not be blamed because they're perfect. Shardham, the host, the flock, the army of powers.
So I had a doubt, that you
Yeah.
said it's Purusha and Prakriti should get separated. Why is that? For Marut to
No,
work out?
they should not get separated. We should find Purusha as separate from Prakriti, not engaged. So once we find that consciousness, we will be able to give our consent to the movements of Prakriti, because Maruts are on the side of Prakriti. Yeah? They are the forces of kind of Prakriti, the divine in Prakriti, powers of thought, and they can be directed only by the will of free Purusha from Prakriti.
I got it now, yeah. These movements, for the movements to become refined and
Yeah.
sort of like governed by Purusha, towards Purusha, it's important to refine Purusha.
Right, you have to have a witness to choose what to think and where to go with your thought process. Otherwise, thoughts are possessing you. You are not possessing thoughts. So to possess thought power, you have to be free from the thought process. And that is separation of Purusha. All right.
That is integral to the yoga. That's the first process in Sri Aurobindo's yoga, is to separate Purusha and Prakriti.
Right. That was the method by Sri Aurobindo, which he himself mastered first. Yeah, separation of Purusha from Prakriti. And he suggests this to I sent the book of Conversations with Pavitra, his diary. There he beautifully describes the whole process. By the way, it was my first book of Sri Aurobindo, which I found, luckily, or which found me. And I understood this as real. It's not something, it's not, imagination or something. It is a total
It's very
real.
profound. Yes, very profound book. All
Yeah.
Pavitra's complete yoga, how Sri Aurobindo guides him step by step.
Through meditation, exactly what to do in meditation, what not to do. It's a treasure. Actually, it is. This diary was found when he left his body, Pavitra, in 1968, and there, you remember at the end of the book, he comes to the mother more and more, and mother invites him for meditations with her. She says, your psychic is close and ready to come. And he feels a different power in the heart, not this from above, but this in the heart, very dense and very strong, different type of power. And she says, yes, you are ready already. So come to my meditation. And what is strange, what was so disappointing for me, that the last 10 pages were torn out from the diary, where he comes to the mother.
Pages are torn, gone away.
I think he did it. He didn't want to give that thing. Mother says to him, don't try to imagine the awakening of psychic being, because whatever you can imagine won't be that.
Perhaps the last 10 pages were inexpressible.
Yeah. Or they were secret knowledge. Yes. One should
Certainly.
not leave that.
Yes.
I thought so also, because why to do that? That is the most precious thing. Awakening of psychic being most probably took place in that meditation with the mother. Sri Aurobindo led him 1 year to this, and then this started to, and interestingly, it started to be aware. He started to be aware of psychic being with the descent of force deeper and deeper. This force from above helped him to discover the psychic. So this is the way how he went in yoga. And it was Sri Aurobindo's path, actually. Sri Aurobindo did the same. he separated Purusha from Prakriti, and that was his nirvanic, silent Brahman. Then there was Alipur jail, this dynamic Brahman seeing the divine everywhere, what we call spiritual transformation. And then Mother arrived, and something happened. He never speaks about this, but I think it was his psychic yoga. Yeah, so to say. He finally
Can I ask a question regarding that book, Vladimir?
Yeah.
I started reading that, but it's places it's written, yes, this is for you. This is what you need to do. Is that an instruction for everybody, or it was just an instruction specifically for him?
Of course, specifically for him. You can learn from it a lot, yes.
Okay,
You can choose what fits for you. Don't have to.
I see.
It's always
Okay.
very, very, very personal, but there is also general knowledge there, which gives his views on things and explanation how where his yoga is going to, the aiming at. So the stages of yoga: first liberation, separation of Purusha, where he is a Sakshi witness. Then you discover that he is not only Sakshi, he's also Anumanta. He is the one who gives sanctions.
Yeah.
And this is second stage. It comes later. So you change the whole attitude in yoga. You start sanctioning the movements of Prakriti and Marut. So that's what we were saying. Once you have Purusha, you have a power of will to kind of support or to stop any movement of Prakriti and thought processes. And then slowly you change into Ishvara, and she becomes Shakti. And so you become one. There is no more difference between Purusha and Prakriti. There is only Ishvara and his Shakti. This is a fullness of realization. This was the lineage of Sri Aurobindo's thinking, which we all follow, where we are heading at this fullness of spiritual realization in Prakriti.
Thank you.
And it is on the first page of this book. He explains all so beautifully. I read it so many times, and every time I read, I kind of bathe in light and some kind of all the knots are removed, all the knots are untied, and I feel again myself, as it were.
Do you have the PDF, Vladimir, or
Yes.
can we?
What's the name of the book? Like, is it the diaries?
It is called The Conversations with Pavitra.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Thank you.
It was originally in French, and then it was translated into English. All right. So these maruts are generated by Agni when something with the seed of heaven was created, and the inflammation of Nripati took place for the truthful impulsion. There are so many things happening in one verse. So these are the spiritual elements of some kind of realization, where our nature becomes charged with the presence of the divine will, and our thoughts are totally taken by this light and cannot do anything else but think of the divine and move and search for the divine. Then Mano na yo advanach sadya eti ekach satra suro vasu ahishe Rajana mitra varuna supani goshu priyam amritam rakshamana. Manachna, as if the mind, he who travels the paths suddenly like the mind. The sun, ever soul, is the master of the treasure. Mitra and Varuna, the kings with beautiful hands, are there guarding in the race delight and immortality. There is a footnote: in the race, could be in the ray cows or in the shining herds of the sun. It's in the Svar world, yes, Svar world, the world of the ray of the sun. So Manas is usually compared with the speed of our movement of consciousness. So he's suddenly moves like the mind. With your mind, you can go anywhere in the universe. Yeah? It is the speediest way to travel, the immediate way to travel for consciousness, some kind of faculty of consciousness which can focus it with the highest speed on any object or subject. You can shift, yeah, and refocus yourself. I was playing this game when I realized what mind was. Like if you look at the stars, for example, in the night, try to reach out to the star with your consciousness, and you will feel some delay, like half a second or 1 second. You need 1 second to reach there with your mind. It's not enough to look, to see. There is also a delay in a kind of identifying with that star. And there is a speed, really speed of the mind. It's nearly immediate, but there is still a speed. It's not reaching the speed of Brahman, as it is said in the Isha Upanishad. Yes? All the gods are speeding up, but they cannot reach him because he's always moving in front, like a carrot in front of the donkey. So you cannot reach him. He is staying in immobile, and always speeding the forces, they cannot reach him. He's faster. So Manas is compared with the speed and path, notice Adhavanah, of the path. So he moves eti, sadyach, suddenly, on the path, like the mind. Ekach, alone, satra, everywhere, surach, the sun, vasvach ishe, possessing vasu, possessing the luminous treasures. Ishe, possessing. Sri Aurobindo translates, is the master of the treasure. Rajana Mitra Varuna Supani, the two shining kings, Mitra and Varuna, with perfect hands. Goshu Priyam Amritam Rakshamana, protecting the immortality and delight in the race, or in the herds of the sun. Why they are protectors? Sri Aurobindo has the whole article on them. They are the guardians of the truth. Yeah, there are 4 guardians of the truth. Varuna, Mitra, Aryaman, Bhaga, these 4. This is Satchit Tapas Ananda. These are the representatives of the transcendental godheads, or the Adityas, the faculties of the Divine Mother. They are protectors of the truth, guardians of the truth. Here it is, I think Sri Aurobindo takes this from the Veda, these guardians. He uses also these this imagery in his Savitri. I don't have now the passages, but I will find these passages for you, of these guardians.
In the yoga of the king, in the yoga of the king.
In the yoga of the king, yeah. So these 2, Mitra and Varuna. Mitra, as you know, is from Rutma. the consciousness, the divine consciousness, as Sri Aurobindo says, and Varuna is there from root Vri, to cover up, to envelop, like an enveloping sky. From here, Uru, another word, vastness. From here, Vara, the best, Vrenoti, to choose. All these words. So from here, even Vritra. Vritra is an obstructor rather than, which he covers also up, but obstructs, not envelopes, not protects. So Varuna is the divine being, the purity of the divine existence. Mitra is the divine consciousness. So existence and consciousness, Sat-Chit. And these Sat-Chit, shining Godheads with perfect hands. Why perfect hands? What do you think?
Force of consciousness, action.
So, yes, reaching out. These are the kings. They are actually the Kshatriyas. They are not Brahmins. All Adityas are Kshatriyas. They are rulers. And ruling is always hands. Yes, as you remember in this Purusha Suktam, this belt, shoulder belt with hands reaching out, is something symbolically means to operate, to take and give, to exchange, to reach out, to arrange.
Vladimir,
Yes.
is Mitra and Varuna, are they then the companions of Agni? Because if Agni's home is in the vast, Ritam Brihat, and if Mitra and Varuna are also guardians.
Yeah, or they become Agni when they come down here. So when they act here, they are identified with Agni. In the first verse of the second mandala, which actually Kinshuk wanted to study, that's why he came to our group, and now he got stuck in the first mandala.
I'm so happy I got stuck. Really.
But in that hymn, exactly, it is said that Agni is identified with every godhead, and it is even said that Agni, you are Varuna when you are being born, and you are Mitra when you are flaming out. Now, being born, when this pressure grows, then there is this Varuna. When you are released, you are Mitra. So this kind of breathing in and out, or compressing and releasing, yes, this is visible already even in the birth. If you think about the birth, there is a very great compression before the relief is taking place, before the child is born.
In that hymn which you are mentioning, Vladimir, there is a word for Varuna called Dhito Vratastvam. That means he holds in his hands the vratas of all the gods, like the promises or the contracts or whatever that is. Dhito Vratastam, he holds in his hands. It's there in that hymn.
Yes. I don't remember, yes,
Yes.
well.
Yeah, I had a lot of time with it. So this hands reminds me of that. I mean, sort of like control, as well as in powerful hands, he is holding things together. That kind of a thing.
You will notice that all the Kshatriyas, Surya also has beautiful hands, Savitar has golden hands. They will all have hands, something to do with this Kshatriya ruling power. They are rulers, they are the kings. All right.
Vladimir,
yeah.
Sorry, again this question, why is the Gosu coming? I mean, the ray cows and not the horse then? If he's talking about the symbol of consciousness go, and Ashwa becomes a symbol of consciousness of power. So here, Mitra and Varuna, like the kings with beautiful hands, it's more of action and it is a power. So in the first line, why is that go so? I mean,
It's
just
a
the
good
mind.
question, actually. Why not in the yes, in the Ashveshu, but Goshu? Why not in Ashvas, but in Go? I think just first what comes to my mind is that Sri Aurobindo's explanation of the Veda. Veda starts with knowledge and moves to power. Power depends on knowledge, kind of. The light of consciousness is first, the power follows. There is the whole verse somewhere in, I think it's Gautama Rahugana. He's speaking about this, that with the treasure where the go is in front of the ashwa. So, and there Sri Aurobindo takes this motive and explains that the Veda is built on knowledge and moves to power. So power kind of follows the knowledge. Whereas in Tantra, it's just the opposite. The power which you acquire from initiation and practice leads you to knowledge. Interesting, yeah, kind of two different views on knowledge. So knowledge can be the beginning and the power, the realization, the end of this knowledge, or it can be the experimentation which leads you to knowledge, to realization of knowledge, which is more tantric.
The second one, which is the power leading to knowledge, does it not have a chance of, getting, not exactly reaching the divine, but
Absolutely. That's why you need a teacher, you need parampara, you need very strict rules of how many times you have 108,000 times you have to pronounce name of Durga in the temple on the full moon and so on. So you will be doing all those restricted rituals and discipline, which will finally allow your instrument to perceive some knowledge. Here it is, Veda is coming from knowledge. Power is somewhere following. And most probably because of that, Ashva is not here. But why protecting bliss and immortality in the light? This is a big question. Why protecting? Why guarding? Why it has to be guarded, protected? Protected from what? There is some occult process of that within the knowledge there is delight and immortality. And that has to be kind of packed, protected, held by some force, away from getting it without knowledge. Let us say that way. Some thoughts, no? Whenever we get to knowledge, we always feel bliss. Is it not so? I even thought so that we are searching for knowledge because we want that bliss, that delight of the truth. Recognition of the truth is full of delight, because then consciousness is matching the higher being, and that generates basically the delight.
Yes, that's so well expressed. So many seekers on the path are searching for truth. And so it's a great treasure and to be guarded.
Right. It has to be, but that bliss is to be guarded in the light, in the rays, and that immortality is to be also protected in the rays, should not be easily available, as it were. It has to go through the truth, through the finding of the truth, and not other way around. You cannot get that delight without knowledge, because then something happens, yeah? And you don't need the truth anymore.
Could it be that the adverse forces are also attracted towards that light, and therefore you have to protect it from them?
More to that delight than light. Yes, absolutely. And if they want to get that delight, they have to change their consciousness. And that's the protection. Yeah, right.
Then Panini, how to like, not Panini, sorry, that the one who takes away the delight, is the stealer of the delight. How do you protect yourself from that?
We don't protect anything. There is something inbuilt in nature that you cannot get to the divine delight without getting the consciousness first. So it is well protected within. So it is not available easily without change of consciousness. So if you make that change, if you really reach to that light, the delight will be there. Yeah? But if you don't, then it is protected within the light. That's what I thought. Yeah? That's my take on this verse. You may have something else to say if you have some other thoughts. And I noticed that the only confirmation of the true thinking or truth at all is the growth of the delight. If there is no growth of the delight from your thinking, from your search, that means it's not true. Even if it sounds totally true, if it is perfectly expressed, and if it doesn't generate the delight, it means it's not true. Amazing. Yeah? This is also an indicator of the truth. At least for me, it was like this. If delight is not coming and you said everything correct, that means it's either out of a place or time, or it is just remembered. It's not really actualized. It's not yet identified with you. And in that moment of time, it's not true to that moment of time. And then it becomes an obstacle, and it becomes a dogma. It becomes something which is actually removing the truth or blocking the truth, rather. Interesting. Truth can block the truth. Yeah?
Yeah, it happens all the time. When you try to like, for me at least, like I would try to not recreate, but like, okay, yesterday was, for example, perfect. I did this practice and I did this, and it was, my day was just like this. Then if I try to reconstruct my day like this, and then if that practice doesn't work at that moment, because I don't actually sort of like try to connect or whatever, I don't allow it. I'm like trying to just come from the past, from yesterday maybe, or from the last hour, and then I'm like, oh God, why is it not working?
Or statistics, for that matter, which is a very good example. They were all the time statistically making projections what will be the development, and all these statistics are true only 50% or 60 maximum. They give some ground, but no more than that, because you cannot predict anything in the future. They were predicting that the oil will finish in 20 years, like 30 years back. Yeah. And then the technology changed. They invented new carburetors, which were not consuming so much oil. So then it was, okay, now prediction is for 50 years. In a few years, there will be another invention, and there will be a prediction for 100 years, and so on. So all this statistics is orienting oneself to the past, does not really reveal the truth.
But Vladimir, there are these people right now who are, and some of them are connected or, kind of following Sri Aurobindo, and they are making these There are these people in Germany and Switzerland making apps and technology to measure the development of consciousness. Do you think it's possible?
Functionality, yes. How you function, IQs, whatever.
No,
You
no.
create the system.
They're talking about really this consciousness which is beyond these thoughts and emotions and
I
stuff.
don't think it's possible to measure. How can you measure that which is measuring everything? So, but you can measure functionality, yes, faculties. You can measure the efficacy of the faculties. I could imagine that would be possible. Even thought process, the speed of thinking, the precision of thinking, the precision of reading, comprehending, all these you can do. Yeah, that functionality you could do. Maybe that is what it is about. I can't imagine they can measure
They're
anything.
using the emotional basis of taking decisions instead of the IQ thing, and trying to connect it to where you are in your consciousness too. I mean, I don't understand much of what, but I was just curious.
Or maybe biologically they put all kind of,
Yes,
tests like
yes, they're putting,
waves.
and then they're having these apps, and then they're connecting, and they're saying, okay, when you feel like this is the energy that's happening in your body, and so this is your level of consciousness is here. But when you were doing some making a theft in a store, then you were like that, and you're going, I mean, something like that.
But the brain is very complex, and we can't really yet kind of figure out how it works, and neurons and how they communicate.
It's all neuromarketing, NLP, all that connected, and I don't know. I just was curious to understand.
Did you play
Because
this
what is-
game with a wave? There is this special apparatus. You put it onto this thing on the head. You can buy it actually. You can Google it and try to shift your thoughts or your state of being from one wave level, from alpha to beta, from beta to gamma, and so on. Did you try? No, I tried. And I
Okay.
noticed very interesting thing, that it is happening. You can shift it. You can train yourself to shift even to the deepest meditative state, yes, which is considered to be very high quality state from the point of view of consciousness, of vibration of the brain, but you will not be there. You will do it by brain. It's not really a shift of consciousness. I noticed this. You can manipulate it. It's like a lie detector. You can be trained to not to react in lie detector, because you
Wow,
control it.
this is quite amazing. And would you like to tell us the other 1 million things that you have tried, Vladimir? Every time you say, I have tried this and I have tried that. And these are such amazing things that you've been trying, right?
No, it was interesting for me to see how you can shift from one stage to another. And I managed it very fast. I did this for someone, and they were very surprised that I could do it within like 3 minutes, to shift to the state of deep sleep or something. But you have to try it out. You have to see what you do, what you think, how you stop thinking, how you observe. And that would be shifting, drifting, and you find your way to do it. It's kind of outwardly you correlate your inner activities. But I also,
you've learned to differentiate between Purusha and Prakriti. We are yet to reach.
well, it is the Purusha was outside as an indicator showing me where I am, So I didn't have to disengage. No. It's easier than it looks like. It sounds more sophisticated.
I like to tell those people about your little experiment, and I would like to tell them what happened with you. I think it's important for them to know.
Yeah, but my discovery was really amazing, that I noticed that truly it does not change consciousness. I thought it would. It would change your state of consciousness, and it didn't. Yeah? So it is just a mechanical thing outside. That's what I wanted to answer to you about that. That measurement does not mean really the shift of consciousness. It may show you very good results, but it won't be there. Okay, there is only one verse left. Let me go through it and we will close this hymn. And we will start next time near him. Will be quick. Mano Agni Sakhya Pitriyani Pra Marshishtha Abhividuh Kavihsan Nabho Narupam Jarima Minati Puratasyah Abhishasteh Adhihi. O fire, mayst thou not forget ancient friendships. Thou who art turned towards us as the knower seer. As the mist dims a form, age diminishes us. Before that, hurt falls upon us. Arrive before we are totally worn out. Which is very practical, actually. Very necessary for all of us to think. Before I am totally done here, I want to have a realization of the divine will in me. I want it to be totally consuming me from within. O Agni, do not forget our friendship and ancestors, it's my interpretation, for you are a poet discovering all. As a cloud changes its form, the old age changes us. Before that curse occurs, illumine us. That's my take on it. All right, we will stop here for today. And we'll start with another hymn. We may also overview this hymn from beginning till the end, that to have a comprehensive kind of take on it, and then travel forward.
Vladimir, please do remember to send this to us by email. Thank you.
Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha Sarve Santo Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukha Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om.